there, I'm Jen. Thank you so much for visiting my shop.
That looks like a really neat basement shop.
Thank you. This is where I do my scroll saw work. I've also been playing around on the bandsaw and in general just getting my craft on down here.
What are you doing today?
Well, we were going to work on making a table for my desktop CNC.
A table sounds cool. Why aren't you going to do it? What happened?
Ran into some trouble with some 2x4's.
2x4's? I don't understand. What do you mean?
Well, why don't you let me show you? Come along.
As a fairly new woodworker, when making furniture, I thought it'd be best to try using cheaper material to start with. Here I am measuring out for a CNC cart, and I'm going to use 2x4's. Now, something that I didn't notice when I was doing this, I should have clued in on, what's that number say? Rather than digesting that number, I got focused on what my measurements for the CNC cart needed to be. So I was like, okay, I need to cut all of my 2x4's at 48 inches. Here it is. Let's get to cutting.
So I made the assumption when doing 2x4's for my tabletop, because I want my tabletop 4 feet. So I assumed that my 2x4's were 8 feet. What is the saying about assuming? So this is one 2x4, and this is another 2x4. Look how much it's off. That is crazy. There's another saying, measure twice, cut once. I just never thought that I would need to measure a 2x4 that says it's 8 feet long before I actually cut it. Evidently I do.
The next step was to saw my 2x4's in half. I thought I was being really precise here, double checking all of my measurements, getting the ruler out. I also found a nifty trick where once you measure it and line it up with the blade on your bandsaw, then you take it and put it on the other side, and if it matches, then you know that it's actually going to work. It's going to be sawed in half.
Had a little bit of a mishap with the bandsaw. If you can see, this started out even, but then, let me slow this down. Look at that. So what happened? I forgot to tension the blade. So now several double checks for myself in this window. And in this window, and here before I start it. Well, given the mistakes that I've made, but learned a great deal from this time around, I think I'm going to need to go back to the drawing board for a little bit for my table. So hopefully this helps some of you out there know that a 2x4 really isn't 8 feet tall. You have to measure it first. And always check your equipment, because if you don't, you may have uneven wood. At the best case scenario. Worst case, don't even want to think about it.